Is it the yarn chicken or the fabric chicken? Because this week we are not doing anything yarn related, we are doing something sewing related. Because I'm going to a wedding in 1 week and I thought I can make my own dress, right? Because I've been shopping for a guest dress for probably 3 weeks now, on and off, and nothing I find really hits right. So I know that I want something green, surprise, surprise, and I want something out of linen. I don't want a linen mix, but I want it to be like a full-on 100% linen fabric because I want it to be wearable outside of wedding guest season. So I went through my old Burda magazines. I had a subscription to this during the pandemic and I found this one pattern, which is the number 102 from the December of 2020 episode edition. And I thought, how hard can it be? And then I looked at the instructions. They are quite bare bones, and I think I can do it. If I can't, then there is another dress in the same edition, which is this long one, which is sewn in a more stretchy fabric, and this one needs a stiff fabric. So this is my plan A and this is my plan B. Both of them have the similar like difficulty level, but I think there are definitely, I mean, there are more moving parts in this version. So I'll try that. I have a week. Let's see if I can do it. I already got my fabric. It's this gorgeous green linen. I have washed it and I'm going to iron it, and it's just gorgeous. It's really lovely. It's quite heavy. I got, let's see, I'm making the size 42, but probably with some modification because my bust circumference would correspond to a size 42, but that doesn't correspond to my other measurements. And since I will be wearing a bra for this, which I don't really do in my day-to-day life, I took my bust measurements with the bra. That came out to 98 centimeters, whereas without a bra it's 96 centimeters. So that corresponds to a size 42. Normally for a dress I would go for a size 38 or a size 40 if it's very tight, but I will just have to trust this. I have something similar in weight, so I will do a quick mock-up to see if the size is actually accurate for the bust, for the bodice, and if that works out, then all the rest is going to work out as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. It's just too damn hot. I need to open all the windows, get my hair out of my face and my neck and everything, have some water, and then get cracking with this project, because right now I've only just started tracing out the bodice pattern pieces. I have so much work to do. I'm not going to do any ironing at all before at least 9 o'clock this evening because it's just too hot. It's 28 degrees hot in the apartment. My poor cat. Damn. I need to air this place out. Immediate improvement. Windows open. Let's get another window open. I was planning on getting my mic out for this, but apparently something isn't working with the mic. I've tried it on 2 different phones with 2 different cables and it's just not connecting. So I'm gonna have to troubleshoot that. Now I'm going to trace the skirt pieces. I have tracing paper that's probably, yeah, it is older than the euro because the price is in German mark. So that's what, 35 years old or something? No, hang on. It's old. Anyway, it is now 6:15 on the 29th of June. Tomorrow I have nothing. Wednesday evening I have a thing, and Thursday morning we leave. So this needs to be done by Wednesday afternoon. I think I can do it. Yeah? You think so too? Great. Thanks for your vote of confidence. Also, I miss knitting. I bought some new yarn. Oh my god. You know, I lay down and I just cannot be bothered to get up. I bought new yarn because I'm making another mock-up of my knitted baseball cap. And I just look forward to releasing this pattern so much. I mean, I realise that it's not going to be a great hit. Basically, no one's first pattern is, but I feel so proud of it, and I think it's going to be so good. So I'm just really proud. I'm going to cut out all of the pieces from my fashion fabric, and then I'm going to see if there's anything left over for the bodice again, because I would like to line the bodice with itself. If not, I could make it work with cotton, but I want to line it with itself to get that linen on linen to skin feel. I also don't have any lining fabric for this because it feels sacrilegious to have this gorgeous 100% linen fabric and line it with a polyester or a cotton. The cotton, I suppose, wouldn't be as bad, but if I line this with a cotton, it's going to stick to my legs as I walk. It's not going to be as flowy and summery and light as I want it to be, as I need it to be. And polyester, can you imagine? I spent 150 euros on this fabric. I'm not lining it with polyester. Catch me outside with that bullshit. No way that's happening. I should just stop talking. Let's go. Okay, so now I have all of the lining pieces interfaced. Now I need to figure out which ones to do in which order, because since I'm only lining the bodice and not the sleeves and not the skirt portion, I don't really know how I want to finish the edges of those pieces. I might just fold them in and whip stitch them down by hand. I think that could be a solution, because I would like to get some sewing done tonight. It's now 10 to 11 in the evening. I would like to get some sewing done and some pressing, because now I have set up the pressing station in the kitchen. It's just a towel on the counter because we don't have an ironing board, and that works perfectly fine. So let's do another montage. that was a quick swim break. I now have to figure out what to do with the sleeve caps, because on the sleeve you have a little piece before the actual sleeve puff starts, and let me show you, that sleeve puff thing is, hang on, there we go, it's ever so slightly asymmetrical, and I can't for the life of me figure out which side goes where, which, I don't know, do I just fuck around and find out, try whichever and see if that works? Because the sleeves are also a bit asymmetrical, which means I could reverse engineer it, of course, into the sleeve caps or the arm size. That's, no, hang on, that's underneath this portion of the sleeve. But yeah, onwards and upwards. Okay, I'm in the same outfit as I was yesterday. We listen and we don't judge. And I decided that I needed to hand sew a blind stitch on this hem. Again, we listen and we don't judge. We are leaving in 18 hours to go to the wedding. And I haven't packed. I haven't cleaned the apartment. And here I am picking up one tiny little thread at a time for a blind hem. Luckily the linen is quite easy to read, so I can find that single strand quite easily. And it doesn't really show on the outside either, as a blind hem should not do. But I don't know how far apart to, place the stitches. This is going to take forever. But I'll do the front looking pretty, and then we'll see how long my patience lasts. But yeah, it looks so good. I have done this much, and the circumference of the skirt is very long. Jag är helt klar med det. It has now been a few weeks since the wedding. I am currently in a knitting frenzy. I'm working on this self-drafted top with an Intarsia lemon, which is going to be available as a pattern probably next week from when you see this. Find me on Ravelry and see if you like the pattern, then go ahead and get it. But I'm in a knitting frenzy, so I have been putting off those last little details on the dress. So to reiterate, when I got back, when we went to the wedding, the dress was nearly finished on the outside. So what I was missing on the outside in the original iteration, what I thought I originally wanted, was just top stitching or stitch in the ditching along the lines to let the two pieces, so the lining and the outer layer, lie together and not sort of shift around. That was the only thing that I knew that I wanted to do that I didn't have time to do. Then, after wearing the dress for an entire night, I had to reinforce the pockets. One of the pocket seams split open a bit because I guess I was too rough on it. So I have to fix that. And I also realized that I need to add ties to it because it is a very relaxed fit around the waist, which is very comfortable. So I'm perfectly able to, drink, have food, snacks, dance, move, run, lift things. That's great. I don't want anything restrictive around my upper body. But I realized that it didn't look as snatched as I would like it to look. So I thought about adding ties to the back. So I'm going to do that. So I've been to the fabric store again, and I got 20 centimeters of the fabric to make the ties. I'm just going to do a simple tie. I'm going to open the side seams, fold the yarn in half, the fabric in half, sew it down, turn it inside out, shove it in the holes in the sides, close off the seam, and then have two equally long, quite long, because I want the bow to be able to be quite big, ties. Oh yeah, and the dress is in the background. Then what I'm going to do is finish the stitch in the ditch, and I'm going to hand stitch the lining fabric to the inner seams so that the lining lays perfectly flat and all of the ends are tucked in and nothing frays, because that is something that, I'm not going to do that ever if I don't do it now. I'm now sitting on the floor in our bedroom. The camera is currently propped up against my side of the bed because I thought I'll trick my cat into spending time with me. She hasn't been very social at all since the heat wave. I mean, basically since before the heat wave as well. She is a rescue cat and she's doing her best with the cards that have been dealt her, and I have socialized a rescue cat, a semi-feral rescue cat before, and I know that takes a lot of time. She's only my second cat ever, and I want to do right by her, so I'm going to spend some time with her today. So I'm just pulling both ends of the thread to the inside of the garment with a little needle, tying a knot and breaking or cutting the yarn thread, and I'm making sure not to leave any threads lying around because threads in the stomach of a cat is a bad idea. Okay, so that's the bodice finished. Now I'm going to fold in this rough edge and just stitch it to the waist seam. I'm in a strange mood today. Something has been up with my mental health lately. I talked briefly about my asthma a few podcast episodes ago, and I have been feeling a bit anxious, and I wonder if that's just my asthma that makes it hard to breathe, and my body misrepresents that breathlessness as, you know, help, we're dying. But then again, it could just be your standard anxiety. I'm not a stranger to that either. What is this seam? Is this something that I need to be bothered with? Yeah, this is something. This is an open pocket. I'll have to fix that as well. Do I want to get my sewing machine out? No, I don't think so. I think I'll just do it by hand. Dramatic entrance. Have you ever seen such a lovely linen summer wedding guest dress? I'm so happy with this. I'm so impressed with my execution of this, the audacity that I had going into this project, that I even attempted one of these. Feels great. I love pretty much everything about it. I love that it's fully linen. I love that I didn't cave and line it with something icky, because this is no ick at all. It is quite hot right now because it is very hot in the apartment and in life in general, and I'm a bit breathless. Anyway, the sleeves, they were, according to the pattern, they are supposed to be bunched up and be like a balloon sort of sleeve. Don't want that. I love these. These are ridiculous, very battle wing-y, very dramatic, and they make for great swoosh. You can also hide a little child or some snacks in here. You can also hide snacks in the pockets because they are deep. They fit a phone, they fit snacks. For the wedding, I think I had like all of those tiny things that one might need on a wedding dance floor. I love the ties as well. I do wish that I had time to do that before the wedding, because in the pictures I was sort of feeling a bit frumpy with all of this fabric and this being very loose, or not very loose, but a bit loose, you know. I felt like there's not a lot of my body that's being accentuated right now except for my killer collarbones. But if I had had the waist snatching properties of the ties, that would have been good for pictures. But honestly, I would not have had them this tight. I have a mirror over here. I wouldn't have had them this tight when I was dancing or eating anyway. So the ties are a good addition. I am very proud of my execution. Pretty much all of it is exactly what I wanted it to be now that I have done the finishings. So after dancing in the dress a few hours, the lining sort of started shifting and creeping up, and that was annoying. But then, you know, I've tacked it down. The inside is really neat. It's going to be great going through the wash. I'm going to wash it now because I haven't washed it since the wedding, and I think she would benefit from a good wash. And I love the colour. What could I have done differently? Oh yeah, the ties I would have added from the beginning. So now I had to undo the side seams to insert the tie, and one of the sides split open a bit more than I had wanted. So once I had finished sewing the fabric, the lining to the outer bodice, I realized that it was still open, and I had to sew it down from the outside because I had already finished the entire inside. What would I have changed more? I think I would have tried to decrease some of the bulkiness in this very, sorry, bad mic etiquette, in this very top portion of the bodice. I feel like even though I seamed the seam allowances, or I sewed the fabric down to the seam allowances, and I've pressed it and I've top stitched it, I think the fabric is still a bit prone to flipping out. That's unfortunate, but you know, other than that, I mean, yeah, some of the pleats could maybe be a bit neater. There is one pleat where it didn't quite catch all of the pleat in the seam, in the waist seam, so I had to tack that down afterwards with just needle and thread. A lot of this is actually finished by needle and thread, the entire inside and some of the pocket as well. So surprisingly much was actually hand finished. But you know, that's sort of, I think that's a lesson that I've learned over the last few years that I've been knitting so much, because when I sewed a few years ago, I would go out of my way to try and find a solution that would require as little hand sewing as possible, because I felt like, oh, I don't want to waste my time. If there is a way to do it by machine, I'm prepared to have it less nice looking if I can get away with not hand sewing. And now that I have so much more, you know, patience, I don't know if I have more patience or if I've just been proven over and over and over again that taking my time and finishing things properly actually is worth it. Either way, I feel like I have grown as a person and I have a great dress to show for it, and I'm very excited to sew more in the future. But then again, I can't sit like that. But then again, I have so many things that I want to knit, and I don't know how I'm going to prioritize sewing over knitting, because knitting is my ride or die. That is where my heart lies. That's what makes my heart sing. And yeah. So when I set out with this dress, I wanted it to be green, I wanted it to be linen, I wanted it to be appropriate for a wedding, and I wanted it to be wearable outside of weddings. Now, that last portion, I'm not entirely sure of, because the very wide neckline makes it very difficult to wear in your day-to-day. This would not be appropriate. I would not feel appropriate at work with this. I would feel very, very dressy. I was thinking about knitting one of those tie slipovers with a broader neck or a broader shoulder portion. That might be something. I might also, I don't know what I would do. The sleeves are so big that they will not fit under a shirt or a sweater of any kind, so it's not a layerable piece in that sense either. So I had originally thought, when I was still thinking about making these into puff sleeves, that I could, you know, just toss on a sweater and have this as a skirt, and no one would be the wiser that I have party on the top. But now it is very much, oh, straight thread that's going there to be thrown away so my cat doesn't find it. But this is very much a dressy dress, an occasion wear, and I want to find occasions to wear it. So if you like this video, sorry, coming very close now. If you like this video, please give me a like. If you are interested in seeing more crafting but mostly knitting related content, consider subscribing, because that's what my content is all about. I am, after all, the yarn chicken. If you're interested in my knitting patterns, I actually have released one by the time of filming this, and I am set to release 2 more in the near future. So my Bad Hair Day bandana is available on Ravelry for free. I will put a link in the description box, and if you're interested in it, please knit it, have fun, and please share the pictures with me. I would love to see what you come up with, and I'm just so very proud of it. So great week all around for finishing this dress and uploading that first pattern to my Ravelry. And I think that's all I need to say today. Take care of yourself. Bye.